I'm going to show you how you can make a beautiful Christmas tree using free or low-cost materials. You will never buy another fresh Greenery Christmas wreath again. To start, you'll need some fresh Greenery cuttings, and you can usually go to wherever you buy your Christmas tree and you can keep your own trimmings from when they trim the bottom of your tree, or you can just ask for the scraps and usually they'll just give these to you. I go to the big box stores on a very frequent basis and just clean out their bin, and now trust me, they will be glad to give it to you. You'll need quite a bit depending on how big you want your wreath. And then you'll need a wreath form. Now I've already cut out some wreath rings, I guess you could call these rings, out of some project balsa wood that I had left over from another project. You can use heavy cardboard, although I wouldn't recommend that for this because cardboard can be kind of flimsy. But this is wood, it's really thin. You can make it as thick as you want, and then just cut it out with a jigsaw or a handsaw. You could also use a foam ring form from the Dollar Tree. You can buy them at Walmart. There's lots of different things that you can use for this. Then I'm using paddle wire. Now this is 26 gauge paddle wire. I prefer to use a thicker gauge like a 20 or 22 gauge, and I'm using green. So the way that I start, well, this one's broken, so I'm going to use this other one. So the way that I start my wire, I just take the end of my wire and I twist it around the form just to secure the end. And I just want to do this a couple of times just so it's nice and tight. And then I'm going to take the wire and just wrap it around the ring a few times just to secure it. And now I have my trusty clippers, and these are as old as dirt, but they still work. I've got some duct tape on there just to hold them together. So now what I'm going to do is take my Greenery, and this is Fraser fir, and I think it's Douglas fir. And I'm just going to break the branches apart and make bundles with, probably 5 to 6 bunches. So it's almost like you're taking the individual little branchlets from each of the bigger branches. And so the number of smaller branches that you use will determine how thick your wreath is going to be. And usually I use about 5 to 6. And then I'm just taking my clippers and cutting off the ends there. So you have like a little bundle, and you can take wire and wire the bundle itself together, but I just prefer to just hold it there on the wreath form with one hand and then just take the wire, the paddle wire, and just wrap around 3 or 4 times and kind of angle out your branch to the outside. Now don't pull too tight with your paddle or you will break the wire, and then, well, you'll see in a little bit. You can fix it, but try not to break it. So just don't pull too tight. And then just go and make your bundles. Just make another bundle. And some of these branches are kind of ugly. I'm not going to use them, but that's why I go a couple of times during the Christmas season and pick up the Greenery from the big box stores. Use your clippers to just trim off the ends. And I do try to leave a little bit of a tail at the end, but not too much of a tail because you don't want the tails sticking out. Then you're going to take the next bundle, you're going to overlap it on top of the first bundle, and you're going to hold it with one hand, just overlap it maybe, a couple of inches on top of that first bundle where you've attached the wire. And just hold it with your hand, just like that, and then take the paddle wire and wrap around that bundle. So what you're doing is you're securing the second bundle on top of that first bundle. And then you're just going to continue doing that. I probably wrap it around 3 or 4 times, not pulling too tight. And then you're just going to keep doing that until the the whole wreath is filled. And then when you get to the end, I'll show you what to do. But the important thing is to remember not to pull too tight because it will break. But if that happens, just take the loose end of the wire and just wrap it around that bundle, I don't know, a dozen times until it's secured, and then just continue on making your bundles. When you get to the very last bundle, cut the tail end a little bit shorter than normal, and then just lift up the first bundle that you wired down and tuck the tail end of that last bundle up underneath the branches. And just take your paddle wire and wrap around the wreath just like you have been doing. But you'll want to probably wrap twice as many times as you have been. So maybe 6 or 7 times, just wrapping around the Wreath Form. And just be careful that you're only wrapping around the stem and not the leaf of any of the other bundles, if that makes sense. And what I like to do is pull off about a foot-long piece of the wire before I cut it. And then I will take that end and tuck it underneath the wires. So it's almost like you're sewing with that piece of wire. So I sew it through a few times and I pull it tight. And then I will use that to form a little loop that can be used to hang it on a nail or any kind of wreath hook that you might have. But again, don't pull it too tight or you will break it. And now your wreath is ready for any kind of ribbon that you might want to put on it. I was thinking about using a piece of burlap just to loop around and use the burlap to hang it, but I think I just want something a little bit more simple. I have one package of frosted cranberries. I think they're cranberries. They may be frosted apples, but anyway, they have wired stems. I got these at the Dollar Tree. I probably need to get a couple more because I don't think this is going to be enough, but I may have some more in my craft stash. But the wired stems allow me just to wrap these around the pine stems of the wreath, the cuttings. I think I'm making sense. Yeah, I just wanted something a little bit more simple and kind of rustic. These are really pretty. It just adds a little bit of color. And that's really all that I wanted for this wreath. But you could certainly bling this up by putting some ornaments in there, wiring some ornaments in there. You could hang ornaments. You could put a whole bunch of ribbon. You could put pine cones. But I just wanted it to be simple. So I hope this video helps you out. And if you don't have access to any kind of Christmas tree cuttings, you could really use just about anything. In fact, I'm going to do another video on things that I have found in my yard. So stay tuned. Bye, friends.